we are too fixated about what I need, and it's all about me. I'm realizing that that's a pattern in the impact space and in the regeneration space. It's like it's either or, and it's interesting because I think actually both of those kind of mimic colonial patterns or white supremacy.
Hello and welcome to the Regenerative Edge. This is a podcast focused on creating a listening space for founders, directors, and changemakers who are tired of pretending that growing a business and healing the world have to be two separate things. This is not your typical business podcast. In this episode, Moh is joined by Tania and Renee to explore systems, tensions, and the questions that sit beneath our work, and what it means to navigate them with care, awareness, and responsibility as we build towards something more regenerative. Enjoy.
So yeah, that's just an insight I've made personally, and as well as my and I think it's just directly tied to what you guys were also talking about, and then the whole concept of grief I think is top of mind for everyone, and no one knows how to handle it.
Yeah, I think we definitely need to, white supremacy has been foundational to kind of what we're doing within Tandem and what we're that sounds terrible. We're doing white supremacy over here. But I just wanted to
Our purpose is white supremacy. I hope we don't release this episode.
I think that is like so foundational to also what we're trying to deprogram, decolonialize. And so I think that would be important. It seems to be like a thing that gets named in some spaces, but in business spaces, I even 100%. Know when we started bringing it into conversations, people were like, whoa, like you said the thing that like you can't say.
It's like the worst thing you can say in business. Yes. That's so true.
So I think that would be powerful because that is such a poison root.
Yep. And I wanted to ask, like, what does it mean to decolonize, our culture, or how do we even look at it from a colonial lens, and where does white supremacy fit in? So definitely, I think that's something I would love to focus a bit more on as well. Other than that, I don't know. Tania, how are you feeling about what we just did? What you did? What we created?
I think it's fun. I realize that we have a lot to talk about. I think the idea that you looked it up and those were the things I showed up. I kind of hate the Google one, but the two other ones were kind of a fantastic mix. It is the blend of art and science that actually allow us to arrive at truth. Like when art is the closest to science, we get the closest we can get to what we live in. And I kind of just love that scientific explanation of it, because it is, our bodies are science and they are also art. They're just a vessel for us to have this expression of life. And I think they both need tending to. They can't be, it's not one or the other.
I love it.
I'll take
it's almost like accepting the dualism of it as well.
There's a regenerative thread here, naming what sits beneath the surface, the poison roots, having the conversations others avoid, while searching for truth somewhere between art and science. But when these ideas meet the lived realities of founders, working under pressure, sometimes feeling alone, the question becomes, can we as an ecosystem sustain and support each other as we navigate this regenerative edge?
I think all entrepreneurs are change makers in this, especially entrepreneurs in this space. One of the biggest blockers, or the reason they're even in the survival mindset, is because of the money pressure, right? And it's because it feels like there isn't enough money unless we survive to make ends meet. And again, this is most of our clients. Funnily enough, that's also a lot of our clients, even after they get an investment round. And this is maybe where I also want to get to, is like, they just landed investment now. Now they're even more stressed because they're less profitable and they need to become more profitable.
Yes.
So I'd love for us to also bring that in the conversation. So the question is, how do we as leaders really listen to, how can we lead with love? How can we care about our people? How can we let people come with their full selves and cry all day if that's what they want to do, when we need to fire them next week because we're running out of cash? It's a hard question, but I think, you're the right people to address that.
There's so many things that, I know Tania and I have talked about this a lot. Tania has a lot of experience in this space with different like founders that she's worked with, but I'll just share something that's been coming to mind, and it's not baked, so I don't know that it's podcast material, but it's kind of this idea of a regenerative business ecosystem where it's like, let's charge the capitalist motherfuckers double the price. And for the regenerative ecosystem, if we all shopped from one another and like priced it in a way that we got what we needed, but it wasn't necessarily extractive, but extracted from like the toxic, that to me is like, there's like a collective community piece that I think we're missing. Like we're all going at it alone, but Tania pointed to it at the beginning about like every place that we spend our dollars is a vote. So it's almost like goes back to supply chain and like the vendors that you work with and the businesses that you work with. It's almost incredibly important to shop from like the regenerative space if you can. Like support another regenerative business, because I think it's through supporting one another that there's like a bit of that unlocking. So, I mean, that's part of the decision that why we decided to work with Zebra Growth. It's part of the decision why we choose to work with a lot of suppliers that we do. So it's almost like, can we resource ourselves and then teach others the regenerative way so that we're really building the momentum for regenerative business at scale. And again, like what scale looks like is not necessarily that traditional hockey stick sort of thing. It goes back to what Tania was saying about like what is nourishing back in. So anyways, these are just things that have been very, very like in my mind in the last few days.
I think that's definitely relevant. Yeah.
Thank you for listening to The Regenerative Edge. In our next episode, we're joined by Johannes from Unity Effect to explore the source principles. Where ideas begin, who carries them into the world, and what it means to take responsibility for bringing something into being. To continue the discussion yourself, you can visit the website in our description. The Regenerative Edge is stewarded by Zebra Growth, an agency working to shift the marketing landscape for intention and practice towards a regenerative approach that nurtures resilience, cultivates connection, and redefines what success can mean. This podcast is also nourished by the talent and insight of our foundational partners, Unity Effect and Tandem, who you'll meet throughout Season 1. Walk to the edge with us. The bridge is wide enough for all.